Week 9 of the fantasy football season, and here's a few defense DST units I have as sleepers this week. The first one, the Green Bay Packers. So the Packers available right now in 82% of fantasy leagues. They got a good matchup here versus the Los Angeles Rams with possibly Brett Rypien in there at quarterback. So this Ram team, I know they got great weapons, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, but if Matthew Stafford plays or it's Brett Rypien, either way, I think this defense could go out there and make plays. Angeles traveling to Lambeau Field, which obviously is never a good thing for a team from the West Coast, especially like the Rams, a team that plays the majority of their games indoors within division, and obviously all their home games indoors. So right now, if it's Rypien and Stafford not 100% with the thumb, I think this team could go out there and make some plays. Whoever's quarterback early and often, but we know this offensive line isn't all that great. I know this Packer defense the last few weeks really haven't done much in terms of putting up fantasy points, but this week here with a few factors and the weather getting colder over there in Lambeau Field, I think this Packer team can make a few plays in this game, and if you need them in the deepest of leagues, they're a sleeper this week. The next one staying in the same division, the Minnesota Vikings. So the Vikings here travel to the Atlanta Falcons, and the Falcons have given up the fourth most fantasy points to DSTs on the season. I know Taylor Heineke finally going to be the starting quarterback for this Atlanta Falcon team. He's the better player than Desmond Ridder. He can get the ball down the field, but he's also been a turnover-prone type of quarterback over the last few seasons in his Washington Commander days. So right now, this defense still could get to the quarterback. The last few weeks, they've gone out there and they've held down pretty solid offenses in the team. So week 7 versus San Francisco, 17 points allowed, a sack, 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery. And week 8 at Green Bay, 10 points allowed only, 4 sacks and an interception. So Danielle Hunter's still on this roster. A lot of people thought they were going to trade him away at the trade deadline, but he's here and he's one of the better pass rushers in the league. You got Harrison Smith in the secondary that could go out there and make plays. And there's a possibility as well Drake London might not play in this game. Missing practice so far in the early reports with a groin injury. So I know Heineke's definitely an upgrade over Desmond Ridder. But I still think this Minnesota Viking team, where their defense has played well the last 3 weeks and have won 3 in a row, could go out there and make plays as a sleeper option. Available in 81% of fantasy leagues. And the third and final defense DST I have as a sleeper is the New York Giants. And O'Connell, he's going to be the starting quarterback in this one for the Vegas Raiders team. So they had enough of Jimmy Garoppolo, where he had 8 interceptions on the season, and he pretty much was a crash test dummy and injury prone. So right now this Raider team hopefully trying to get a spark from O'Connell. But we've seen O'Connell start 2 games this season, and he's had mid-results. So this New York Giant DST's been playing great football over the last few weeks. Another DST just like the Minnesota Vikings, where they've held opponents the last 3 weeks into the teens. Week 6 at Buffalo, 14 points allowed, an INT, a fumble recovery. Week 7 versus Washington, 7 points allowed, 6 sacks, an interception, a block kick. And then last week versus the Jets, a game they should have won, is the Giants, but couldn't close it out. 13 points allowed, 4 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries. So Kayvon Thibodeau playing great football. He's getting to the quarterback. The secondary, I know, has some young players, but they're holding their own versus these wide receivers. And this week here with a rookie quarterback and an offensive line, for the most part, that's been one of the worst in the leagues here for the Vegas Raiders. I think this Giant team could get to Aiden O'Connell early and often in this game, put up some points, and they're available as well in 88% of fantasy leagues. That's a few defense DST units I have as sleepers here for week 9 of the fantasy football season.